Hello, my little poets, and welcome back to Pedantic Poetry. My name is Andy, and I'm your host. So, to start off, let's address the elephant in the room. I've been gone for basically 2 years, and a lot has happened. I started studying. I'm now studying to become an English and social studies teacher, and I've also moved out. So I'm so sorry if this is a little echoey. I'm trying to find ways to work around that. To start off, I also want to say I'm calling this Season 1, Episode 1 of Pedantic Poetry, and the older episodes, I'm going to keep them up for nostalgic reasons, but they're kind of like the bad prequels you don't need to listen to because they were recorded back in 2022, 2023, so yeah, welcome to Pedantic Poetry. So today I'm going to be starting a new series called Spiñata, which is trying to get through my TBR, but in a fun way. So I made a spinner wheel, which is not an original idea at all, but I called it Spiñata because every pick is a treat. So spin, wheel, piñata, haha. So funny, I know. So I started doing this while I was moving, so there are some mood reads interspersed throughout this. So my idea behind this was trying to tackle my TBR first and foremost, but I also have a lot of Kindle reads because the summer of 2023, it was like half a year after I had gotten my Kindle, stuff your Kindle romance bookworms thing was happening. I downloaded over 400 books, and I still haven't read most of them because I'm trying to keep up with popular reads on Book Talk and BookTube and everything. And so I thought, okay, let's start trying to read through some of these. And as I said, I was reading some of these while moving, so I didn't have access to the wheel at some points because I didn't have internet in my new apartment and everything, so then I mood read a little bit. So the books I will be talking about today are Not My Problem by Ciara Smyth, Powerless by Lauren Roberts, Wish You Dead by Rebecca Westcott, Edge of Heaven by PG Forte, and Music of the Night by Angela J. Ford. So let's start with some stats. So the total amount of pages I read for this episode was 1,507. The average rating was 2.75 and 1 DNF, which is not the best. And the genres they're a little different from what I'm used to, but also some of my favorites, if that makes sense. Not My Problem is YA LGBTQ+, Powerless is YA fantasy romance, Wish You Dead is YA thriller, but also LGBTQ. Edge of Heaven is fantasy romance, LGBTQ, and Music of the Night is fantasy romance. Let's start talking about the books. So Not My Problem is about a dean going to a private school in Ireland, but her family isn't the best. She is kind of a ghost at school, but has a popular best friend named Holly, and she's kind of jealous of Holly's other friends. She ends up helping Holly's nemesis, Maeve, by pushing her down a set of stairs. And Kavi, a dude in one of Aidine's classes, overhears everything and ends up finding other people who Aidine can help. I think this book will be perfect for people who are going with the right expectations. I had the wrong expectations. I had this book marketed as a bisexual main character and it giving kind of Grease, like Grease Lightning, that movie vibes, but it didn't. I really enjoyed that the characters were flawed, but they were also so annoying. And I know they're in high school. Aidine is 16, I believe. And so I ended up giving this a 2.5 stars. And I'm so annoyed because I really just want to find a book with a bisexual main character, and it can be a coming of age story or something, but I have yet to find a good book with a bisexual main character. I've read a couple, but yeah. I will do a spoilery section at the end of the episode. So yeah, let's then move on to Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Most of you has probably heard about this book at this point. It's such a popular book in Book Talk. But if you haven't, it's about Peyton, who is powerless in the city of elites, which is basically people with power. So she is called Ordinary. And after bumping into one of the princes named Kai, she ends up saving him and therefore gets sent into some deadly trials. And yeah, it's cute. I've heard that the next books in the series, because this is a series, the last one was a standalone, the next books in the series are based more on vibes. This one has a plot, but it's not the best, in my opinion. I'm so sorry. And I went into this book knowing that it had a lot of hype, so I was kind of scared of it, but I had also heard many people didn't like it, so I went in with kind of like, okay, this might be for me, this might not be for me. I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was okay. I really enjoyed Peyton and Kai's love story, but I felt myself skimming through the plot, which I didn't expect. I usually find myself enjoying the plot more than the romance in fantasy books, but this one it was opposite, and it just felt really weird enjoying a romance more than a plot in a fantasy setting. But yeah, there were some really good scenes between them, so yeah, 3.5 will probably continue with the series. Next up is Wish You Dead by Rebecca Westcott. So this is about Morgana Merrick, and she's a witch. And after kinda accidentally killing her half-brother's mother and being bullied by the popular girls in school, she tries to take control of her life. Like, she tries, like, how do I word this? She is a witch, and she tries to, like, do spells and everything to make herself popular and give herself a makeover. Then we skip forward 4 years, and bad things start happening to her friends. Like, they get exposed for doing, like, for stealing and everything. I love the premise of this book, but the setup of it is so good and the premise is so good, but what in the hell? What was that ending? What was that ending? And also, I just didn't feel, because there's a love story in this, it did not need a love story. So, and I just didn't feel the chemistry between the main character Morgana and the love interest. It's so weird. Next up we had Edge of Heaven by P.G. Forte, and this is about Edge. He is an angel, kind of, in limbo, and he helps other people who end up in limbo with closure or guilt or other things keeping them from heaven or hell. And Matty is one of these people. He has problems with closure, so they try to get Matty into heaven, basically. This is a random ass book from Stuff Your Kindle. I went into it blind. I didn't read the blurb or anything. I only saw the genres. I'm sorry, but what was this? What was this? I skimmed so much of the ending. There was just too much spice and not enough. I didn't really feel the chemistry between them. I've been having a really hard time feeling chemistry between book characters, and this one was just, there was too much spice without enough chemistry. I rated that one a 2-star. I think I forgot to say, but I ended up rating Wish You Dead a 3-star. Then we have the last book, Music of the Night by Angela J. Ford. This is about Arya, who lives with a distant relative and works as a dancer in his theater to earn her keep, but she wants to be a singer. And then we have the male love interest, Uriah, and he lives in a supposedly haunted tower of this city named Hightower. And Arya listens to Uriah's organ and singing on the wind and seeks him out to get singing lessons, basically. It's kind of a Beauty and the Beast, Phantom of the Opera retelling. And I'm so sorry, because I love singing. Singing is one of my passions in life. And I just did not enjoy this book. I DNF'd it at 50%, which is... It was at, like, the book was 240 pages. I could have pushed through, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to push through, so... Yeah. So the main reason why I DNF'd it was because of the writing. It was just kind of bad to me, and I couldn't take it quite seriously because of the use of the word nay. Like, for no. Like, yay or nay. Like, they used nay in a serious way. And I just cringed. And I could not take this book seriously because of it. I didn't feel the chemistry between the characters. It was like, there was supposed to be tension, but I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the chemistry. And, like, he's helping her sing, and he's, like, touching her neck a lot, and... no. And so I got through the first spy scene. I skimmed it, basically, because the writing and the kind of dirty talk, and it was... Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I DNF'd because I cringed so hard. That is basically everything, and now I want to do some kind of spoilery stuff, especially for Not My Problem, because Not My Problem is, as I said, was marketed as a bisexual main character, and the book gives the vibes of Grease, but tell me why the main focus of this was Aideen's mom's alcoholism. Like, I'm sorry? Why did we need to focus so much on that? And that her father was a dirtbag, because Aideen is the child of, like, a mistress situation. So her mom is the mistress of her father, and her father has, like, another wife, or has a wife and another child and everything. And I feel like if this was a book, if it was marketed as a book about a young girl trying to help her mom through her alcoholism and trying to find out a way to ask for help and everything, because she can't ask for help for shit. Sorry for swearing, but she can't ask for help. And so the book ends with her finally asking her teacher for help. And, like, it was a cute book. I loved the part where Aideen is helping other people and, like, gaining friends, which she wouldn't have had otherwise. But that alcoholic parent part, and, like, Aideen had to take care of her mum. She faked being sick for a whole week to make sure her mum didn't drink at home when the mum was home alone. And while that is probably realistic, it felt so out of place when we're just, like, trying to see these two queer girls helping people and trying to win school president elections and everything. And yeah, like I said, I really liked Aideen helping others, because there were some kind of funny situations and relationships that came out of it. But Aideen was so stubborn, like, to the point of hurting others, like Maeve and Kavi. That part annoyed me so much, which is why I got a 2.5 star. Yeah, I feel like Wish You Dead, since this is the spoiler section, Wish You Dead could have been so much better if it didn't have a twist villain, sorry. Cause, like, what? Why did we need a twist villain? Why couldn't Morgana? Cause, like, the thing is, Morgana is a witch, but she isn't as good as she thinks she is, and so there's this other witch witch is dabbling and the other witch is dabbling in dark magic and curses and everything. And there's also like a love interest. Yeah, I mentioned the love interest, but like the love interest is a spirit or like a descendant of the first witches in this town. So she disappears at the end of the book, so there's not really a happy ending. And like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I feel like I did some kind of spoilery stuff for the other books as well, and I'm sorry if you want to read these. This is probably going to be my like worst rated episode, because I'm currently reading for the next episode of Spiñata, and so far it's a little better, at least. I've been doing some mood reading in between because okay, spoiler for next episode, but I was reading Nectar of the Wicked because it got spun for me, and I don't know how to feel about that book, but it took me such a long time to get through it that I started mood reading in between just to like actually have a book that I was enjoying. Not to say that I wasn't enjoying Nectar of the Wicked, but like, you guys understand. So yeah, I was doing some mood reading, so I am currently almost finished with reading for the next episode, and I'm really excited for it, actually. I'm really excited to get back into doing this podcast and everything. I kind of want to start uploading these episodes to YouTube, and yeah, I'm just glad to be back. I hope this episode wasn't too echoey and everything. Thank you so much for listening. Follow me on Instagram and here on Spotify. As I said, I might be uploading this episode to YouTube, so go subscribe to me over there if I end up doing it. Haha. But yeah, see you guys next episode. Okay, goodbye.